All right, welcome, and thanks for joining us on The Kick. My name is Kyle Eason, and I'm here with the founder and chairman of Innovation Pavilion, Vic Ahmed. And I'm so excited to bring you Vic today. Our discussion is going to be very interesting. I think a lot of folks are going to learn something about Innovation Pavilion and certainly about Vic that they didn't know before. Uh, kind of important day happened yesterday, fourth anniversary celebration for Innovation Pavilion. It's very exciting. I'll let Vic tell you a little bit about that. But Vic, could you just give us a little bit of an introduction to your background, which is really fascinating, and you've had a long and interesting career. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. I'm originally from Pakistan, and I came to the US for my undergrad education in Washington University in St. Louis. And I was majoring in computer sciences and systems engineering. After graduation, 3 months into my first job, I quit and started my own company. So I've done startups or turnarounds all of my life. That's pretty much all I've done. The first two-thirds was serial, one after the other, and the last third has been somewhat in parallel, some as an angel investor in companies, some on board of companies, and some as CEO of some high-growth company. Outside of my day job, very involved in the intersection of community building, policy making, economic development, and technology. Just a few examples. The governor was graciously had come in to do the innovation awards that we started in our fourth anniversary here yesterday, and this will be an ongoing thing every year for us now. So when the governor became governor, he wanted one of the things he wanted to do was to make Colorado the most innovative states in the country, and he recruited 14 C levels to help him chart that course. So I was one of the founding members of the board, which is now called COIN. And I think the governor and the board has really done some great things, as you can see from the notoriety that Colorado continues to get in innovation and entrepreneurship. Our Secretary of Technology has an IT Economic Development Board. I'm on that. Colorado Technology Association, the largest trade body for tech companies. I was vice chair for 2 years, chairman for 2 years. Colorado Association of Manufacturing and Technology, now called Manufacturers Edge. I'm the current chair of, and we are mostly funded by the federal government to help local manufacturers here in Colorado. I'm also was on the global board of trustees of TIE, which is one of the largest nonprofits in the world focused on fostering entrepreneurship. Also, the founder of the local chapter here in Colorado. Also, chairman of the board for STEM Academy, which also operates a STEM school here in Highlands Ranch, which we actually we have incorporated that into our innovation pavilion model. So I've shared a number of these things because they all tie into Innovation Pavilion. I've done a few other things here and there, but I won't go into that detail. It's hard to describe our model as an incubator. As we have discussed before, we are more than an incubator, but I can't really find an exact expression that covers all aspects of what we do. So we are more of an economic development model, particularly for second and third tier cities, and specifically those that are adjacent to a significant city, like we are in the city of Centennial, which is right next to city of Denver, right? And then we are now we're making a new one in the town of Parker, and another one in the city of Olathe, which is right next to Kansas City. And we are in conversation with 20 other cities across the country to do a similar thing over there as well. So the three components of what we do in these campuses that we built out, the first thing is standing up niche entrepreneurial ecosystems. And examples in Colorado, we were the founders along with Denver South Economic Development Partnership for the digital health focused community, which is called Prime Health, and has now become its own Colorado-based nonprofit. We launched another one in partnership with Aero Electronics and Denver South Economic Development Partnership, which is called Tech Riot, which is an IoT community which is expanding unbelievably. And the kind of progress we made in digital health in years we've been able to accomplish that in 6 to 8 months. So this thing is growing hugely. We also just yesterday announced in partnership, interesting people come through. That was Rod Smith, if you didn't notice.
Bronco?
Yeah. So he's invested in a company
Oh, that's
here.
amazing.
So he comes here often. So anyhow, I was talking. We just announced in the governor's presence yesterday at our event an ad tech community, which is also an up and coming niche market that has great potential for Colorado to become one of the hubs and leaders for. And in this case, we've partnered up with Epiphany, which is one of the best ad tech companies and is growing tremendously and has just great leadership. Joe and Brian, who are doing a tremendous job, and we've partnered up with them and adding more partners to it. And we are all probably this year going to announce 1 or 2 more that we've been working on. So that is the first leg of the stool, standing up niche entrepreneurial ecosystems that become a vehicle of mostly tech companies around that particular niche. The second part that we do is practices in corporate innovation, specifically disruptive corporate innovation. Large corporations are very good at incremental innovation, but not so good at disruptive corporate innovation. So again, partnered up with others, we bring those best practices to the large corporate community. I didn't mention this, that everything we do is with partners. So we consider ourselves a mall or a marketplace for innovation and entrepreneurship. So in that sense, that's how we are a little different than most other incubators. The last leg of the stool is, of course, the transformation of educational models in the U.S. We are part of the national movement that believes that the education system is broken, completely broken, and it needs to be transformed. So we are working again with some very, very competent best practices, individuals who are creating new things or have got best practices already to expand this to other locations. So in our model, we actually incorporate a STEM school into our campus. So it's co-located, so students can do apprenticeships in companies so that they have practical skills. By the time they graduate from high school, they have skills enough to make more than a minimum wage and therefore enable a debt-free education for the rest of their lives. Gone are the days that you went and got education and you were done, like I did 30 years ago. Now things are changing so quickly, you have to constantly update your skills. Not to mention the fact that millennials will change their careers 5 times before they retire. Therefore, you'll have to learn new skills constantly, and all the more reason you can't afford to be in debt. So those are the kinds of projects we are working on, and our physical campuses, this first one is not representative of what we are planning to build out. These campuses will be between 100,000 square feet and 200,000 square feet.
And we're at 80,000 square feet in this
In
building.
this building is 80,000 square feet, that's correct.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like you're still searching for the right kind of descriptive term to describe Innovation Pavilion. For me, it becomes a sort of collaborative entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Certainly,
And
that's one way to
I think
describe
you
it.
had another term that you liked, that you had.
I just said it's a mall or a marketplace for innovation and entrepreneurship. That's easy for people to understand because they look at what we're doing and they're sort of overwhelmed and say, how can a small team be doing all these things? So just like a mall, you walk in there, you can buy 1,000 different things. If you want shoes, you go to the shoe store. If you want clothes, you go to a clothing store. If you want to get your hair done, you go to a salon. Similarly, we have deep partners in everything, so we're not trying to boil the ocean in a sense. We are the concierge that brings these best practices and then replicates them in communities. So really, and we are focused on 3 areas, as I mentioned: building niche entrepreneurial ecosystems, best practices in disruptive corporate innovation, and the transformation of education models. And within those, we have 50 or 60 partners that we work with to bring that niche expertise.
Very exciting, and it seems to me also it sort of embodies that Colorado collaborative ethic that you see in a lot of places in Colorado. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely true. And I give credit to all sectors that are involved in it, starting with the governor, starting with the mayor, and even smaller towns and cities, how they're embracing innovation and entrepreneurship. And our community is certainly is very collaborative. And we are finding all kinds of best practices right here in Colorado. So certainly fortunate to be here and having the ability to of identifying and then putting together these best practices.
Very exciting. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your fourth anniversary celebration and what that experience brought to mind for you, looking back on the last few years. This experience here, the folks that you honored, and then going forward, what comes to mind when you think of the event last night?
Yeah. So the event was wonderful. The governor was very gracious, spoke for a while, and then the room was packed. We didn't have enough. People were standing outside the doors because more people showed up than we were expecting. And this was in Parker also, so it was quite a hall. We had so many people, even from Boulder, who had showed up for that. So it was sort of, in my mind, a validation of what we've been trying to do the last 4 years. So our last 4 years have really been focused on showcasing that what we are doing is indeed valuable to cities to create these niche entrepreneurial and innovation ecosystems, as you mentioned. So that has been our focus, to bring in these partners, experiment with them a little bit, create our new programs, and to see if they work. So we've gone a little bit slow as compared to high-tech companies, in the sense that we wanted to get to a certain point when we had showcased the value we bring to communities and then start to expand out. So we feel that this year will start that high growth path for us, because we have done the part about showcasing that we can bring significant value in economic development and other aspects to these cities.
Well, I know you have an amazing team, and I've met several of the folks that are on board, and just high performers and fantastic individuals. So that's exciting to see. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Vic, in terms of what's next for Innovation Pavilion or any of the other ventures that you're involved with?
Yeah, you mentioned the team. Extremely fortunate. Most of them are millennials. And people complain that millennials don't have a work ethic and stuff like that. But I gotta tell you that we have just a phenomenal team who is doing what they're doing because they feel the passion for it. We don't pay particularly high. In fact, we play below market because we're in a startup stage here. And it's not just that these people are working here at probably lower salaries that they can make elsewhere, but the level of commitment despite that. And it is absolutely amazing. I am inspired every day by our team and our partners who are doing such great things. So that, I think, has been the biggest blessing of all. And moving forward, again, we're entering a different phase of our company's growth and life, in the sense that now is a high growth stage that is coming. So there'll be more processes around that and stuff like that. We're a very close-knit community within our partners and our team members here at IP. It's like a family almost. Our people who come to IP are part of our family and very much part of what we are building over here. So that's the sense it is today. We're hoping that we can replicate that in other places, in other cities also, because I think that makes a big difference in terms of how we are differentiated.
So that's fantastic, and people can watch the progress on, is it innovationpavilion.com?
Yes.
And that's www.innovationpavilion.com to follow the progress and watch what is next and watch the whole program unfold.
Well, thank you.